Of course, welcome you to this bright, beautiful day at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Niagara on this, the 15th of February. Our opening words today are a paraphrase of words given unto us by the founder of Buddhism, Gautama, and it is advice that I believe is very, very appropriate not only to our times, but in all probability, all times. The Buddha. Or as the Americans say, the Buddha. Anyway, anxiety isn't just fear. It's the mind struggling with uncertainty. When you can't tolerate the unknown, you try to control it through overthinking, overplanning, and overdoing. This only teaches your brain that you are unsafe. Healing begins when you train your nervous system to feel calm in the unknown. And the affirmation that would be appropriate to this point of view is, I don't know what will happen, but I know and I trust that I'll be okay. You'll find, of course, your chalice lighting on the inside cover of your bulletin. And if you'll please repeat after me. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Before we go on to our responsive reading of the morning, let us turn in our hymnal to hymn number 95, that's 95, and let us strive to give a good college try here. Oh, what the hey, I'll settle for a good high school try. There is... Drunken bar try. What's that? Drunken bar. And let us strive to beautifully render there is more love somewhere. More love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere.
Pick up the pacing. Somebody give me a tempo.
There's more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. own it?
Yeah, you gotta just pipe right out with it.
I thought I was piping.
All right, last verse. Yeah. Go.
There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Oh boy.
Now, you see, that's why
I played for Wednesday.
that's why she's a seasoned professional. She knows these things. Thank you so much.
Oh, you know what? But Dr. T just brought up a good point.
What?
He's too high. All right. The next time I'll bring it down. I'll transpose it.
I have faith. Yes. For our responsive reading today, we celebrate tomorrow, President's Day. There have been some amazing, great men in our history. And in celebrating President's Day, probably, I won't say the greatest because he shares space, if you will, with other greats. But one of the very, very greatest in our history is, of course, Abraham Lincoln. And it was he who inspired this writing, which is responsive reading 586, The Idea of Democracy. As labor is the common burden of our race, so the effort of some to shift their share of the burden onto the shoulders of others is the great durable curse of the race. This expresses my idea of democracy. Whatever differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is no democracy. Destroy this spirit, and we have planted the seeds of despotism at our own doors. Why should there not be a patient confidence in the ultimate justice of the people? Is there any better or equal hope in the world? Amen, Mr. Lincoln. We now come to that portion of our service that we refer to as honoring our joys and our sorrows. And of course, as they say, these are the best of times, these are the worst of times. As we focus on the good, we must also acknowledge that there are things that need an enormous amount of our faith, our work, our heart. And so I light this candle not only for the United States of America, but indeed for all of Mother Earth and all of the many complexities and diversities of difficulty that need to be addressed, and that we open ourselves to the divine guidance, to the generous spirit of life itself, so that we may unite ourselves to solve these issues in a meaningful and indeed in a grateful way. The other thing I'd like to also share, I have, in a way, what is referred to as a sorrow. Some of you know my background, some of you don't, but I am kind of the Swiss Army watch of liberal theology. I have served a number of religious traditions in the progressive liberal faith, as I call it. And a number of years ago, I was the minister at a church in Rochester, New York, called All Souls United. It was a church of religious science. For lack of a better word, if you're that interested, just go on Google and look up New Thought, and you'll find all the information you could possibly want. But I digress, as is my usual custom. But during the time of my tenure there, which was about 5 years, I ran into and dealt with, obviously, as you can imagine, a great number of people. And one of the people I had the privilege of running into and, in a sense, working with, a lady by the name of Wanda Strothers. And Wanda came into the church very open, but very enthusiastic, and as one might expect, and proceeded to do a lot of changes and moved in a lot of really unique and interesting directions that were, I believe, in the long haul, extremely positive for the congregation. Well, toward the end of my tenure there, when I resigned and moved ahead, she, in a sense, became the head of the church, though she was not classically trained in seminary. And she, from what I can understand, she did a whiz-bang of a job being the lay leader of that church. Well, unfortunately, in the past week, she passed away. She was not a mature person by any stretch of the imagination. She was, I believe, maybe in her late 60s, early 70s, and she passed away through breast cancer. So we ask for prayer for her family and for her congregation, so that they may be able to cope with this great loss, and wish her well in whatever dynamic she found comforting. So, is there anyone else who would like to share joys or sorrows?
Our friend Francie Coleman participates in our services most weeks, I believe. She lives in California, and she sent Erica an email. Well, she sent the church an email last Saturday, but it got lost in the email bin and was only found this Saturday. But this is what she said: "My joy and sorrow. I didn't hit my head, but I fractured my right arm a week ago when I tripped and fell at the grocery store. At rehab right now, and probably will go to a bed and board for a month to heal. No surgery needed. Patience, prayers, and good thoughts appreciated as self heals. Thanks, Francie." So please hold Francie in your thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Francie.
Hi. I'm in the bed and it's interesting journey I've had.
Good morning. I kind of have three for the three main loves of my life. My dad today is his birthday. It's his 66th birthday, and I just want to, think of him. He's in Florida. We'll be going down there in a couple of weeks to visit him and stay with him for a week, and then he'll come back up here in May. But he is the greatest man. He was my hero. He raised me and my two sisters, and he's just the best. So happy birthday, Dad. And then 10 years ago today, well, it actually was yesterday, well, on the February 10th, 2016, Abby and I went to Lumbini on a bus as friends. And then on the second day there, I reached out and grabbed his hand, and we fell in love. And then a couple days later, decided to get married. But it was on February 14th that we drove the bus back from Lumbini. And we didn't celebrate Valentine's Day, or that's not a thing there, but it just happened to be the 14th. And I remember, like, he was asleep on my shoulder, and I was listening to my iPod, and I just started crying, thinking, like, this is the one, this could be the one, you know, and I was just, so I'm remembering that. And then a little thing for Emerson, I left him at my grandmother's house while I had an appointment last week, and he was watching the Olympics. I said, okay, they're good watching the Olympics. He's off. He doesn't watch TV or the news or anything, but I thought the Olympics are good. I went to my meeting, or came back, and then before bed that night, he got huddled in a ball. He said, Mom, I'm so scared. When I was watching TV at Graham's house, he saw the video of the kidnappers going into that person's house. You know what I'm talking about, like the famous person that got kidnapped. He saw videos of like kidnappers going into her house off the porch thing, and he was so scared and so worried. So that whole night I just cuddled him, held him close, and he was so scared. And I just say, like, it's not gonna happen here, don't worry, da da da. He got over it in 2 days, but it's just a shame.
I hear you. Thank you. Yeah? Yeah.
As usual, I got something to say.
What else is new?
That's all.
So, I don't know whether this needs a candle or not, but I think I mentioned last month that I got my friend to make a wrong turn because I wanted to go somewhere, and the possibility of an ongoing, once a month gig could come up. So I had my first night on Friday night there. And it turns out, I guess, yes, they liked me. I was a bit distracted. This one girl actually got up on stage. I was doing Black Velvet and a little boy smile. She starts gyrating all over the place. I've never quite been faced with that before, but apparently this is a good sign. People want to get up and gyrate around the stage, that, you know, the likelihood of you getting invited back is high. So I want to see you guys getting up and gyrating around the room. That's what the candle's for.
Yes, I'll be like Lawrence Welk singing the Lennon Sisters, I can't get no satisfaction. Yes. That's right. My wife and I every so often discuss the joys of becoming more mature, and I was talking about the fact that I wanted to get up on the church roof because there were some issues, and she basically said, monkey boy, no more. She's right. Oh, God. In any event, as we prepare for the offering, we now come to the offertory, and our lovely, vivacious Patty will
I'll do something not.
do something. I don't think I'm going to be gyrating to it, but I can hum along real good. unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirring of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Wait till you hear me do Melancholic Baby. What I didn't mention at Joys and Sorrows was I had to go last Monday to have my vagus nerve stimulator adjusted for, I go twice a year. It's a treatment for two things: epilepsy, which I am grateful I do not have, and treatment-resistant depression, which I have struggled with for a number of years. And one of the side effects is that because it is so close to the vocal cords, as you might tell in my voice, I'm a little froggy. Actually, I'm a little Ronald, but I could also be a little froggy. But anyway, I told her, I said, you know, I am a minister and I like to sing. And so she's tried to adjust it so I can kind of maybe sort of sing better. I'm hoping it's going to work. Anyway. One of the things that I am very interested in, and I know some of you concur with me on this interest, is the study of history. And in a recent article I wrote, my minister's message for March in our church's newsletter, I pointed out that more often than not, we get tortured by our past, and we continue to relive it again and again and again, which really makes our present very askew, because that then becomes an amalgam of more past than living in the now, the present, which then makes the future so untenable it's not even worth continuing to talk about. And I was thinking about that, and I said, you know, one of the things that always inspires me, because we spend a lot of time, you heard me last week, I spent a lot of time talking about what's wrong with us, meaning the U.S. Interesting play on words. And it occurred to me, too, that many times, as was stated in the opening words, I know I do, get caught up in the past, and I get caught up in the kind of thinking where I overthink, I overwork, I overdo. And when I do that, it really doesn't do me a whole lot of good. And I'm sure you could identify it doesn't do you a lot of good either. And I thought, well, one of the things that I'm discovering about myself is that when I study history, and when I'm talking about history, it's, quote, positive history. And that not only by studying, for example, some of the history of this great nation, the positive history of this great nation, it inspires me to have hope for the future. It inspires me to be proud of the spiritual direction. And I know some say pride is a sin, but if it is, I'm guilty of it. Proud of the fact that I have woken myself up enough or been wokened, I went to school, trust me, that I have awoken enough to be able to appreciate those positive historical things. And so it is in that spirit I want to honor today as part of, I'm going to be bouncing a little bit around, but not too much. I want to honor that this month, February, we talked just a few minutes ago about tomorrow being President's Day, but this month is also Black History Month. And, I don't know how you were raised, but unfortunately, I was raised, and I'd love to use the word negativism because it sounds so sanitized, but I was raised with a lot of bigotry. I was raised with a lot of racism and white supremacy. And it didn't make my parents evil people, it made them ignorant people. It made them product of generations before them. And I realized that it did take, even for them at times, courage to break that mold and to see a brighter, better reality, which then could produce a brighter, better future. And so, when I study, especially things like Black History Month, it helps me to appreciate that when we do look beyond race, when we do understand that we are all, quote, if I may, created in the image and likeness of a power infinitely more intelligent and greater than ourselves. Call it God, call it cosmic consciousness, call it superconscious mind. I don't care. But when we do that, we then can appreciate things like, and I'll just share with you some of the things that have been very inspiring to me. To remember Dr. George Washington Carver, born in 1864 and passed on in 1943. Born into slavery, but he surpassed all odds and managed to get an education. He made his mark on the world by becoming a chemist, botanist, inventor, educator, and humanitarian. All in his spare time, I suspect. Because Carver invented hundreds of products using the lowly peanut and some other plants. He created dyes, plastics, and a type of fuel, just to name a few. Then we remember Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, born in 1856 and passed on in 1931. Founded the Providence Hospital in Chicago in 1891. In 1893, he performed one of the first successful open heart surgeries. Rebecca Cole lived from 1846 to 1922. Graduated from the New England Female Medical College in 1867 and became the second Black woman ever to graduate from medical school. Maya Angelou, 1928 to 2014, celebrated poet, memorist, and civil rights activist, known for her powerful autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, born in 1946, is the first Black woman to earn a doctorate in theoretical physics and the first Black woman to head the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. One time I had a incident where I was able to look at, there was a comedian who was on What's My Line, and now he's leaving my consciousness. Anyway, he was a very famous Jewish comedian. And he listed, just like I've listed about these black individuals, their contribution to our society, to our culture, to our world. He listed these Jewish individuals who did the same thing. And he says, you want to be anti-Semitic, or in this case, racist? It's the same thing. He says, go ahead. He says, but then I want you to live according to your conscience and not use any of these wonderful inventions and these wonderful progressions that these people have given the world. But it's gonna cost you. Yesterday, of course, Valentine's Day. 2.7 billion pounds of chocolate. Pardon me, 17% less this year. Cocoa has gone up in tremendous, has been priced very high. Crop failure in Africa and greed by American businessmen. But nonetheless, chocolates, copious amounts of dinners served. Many lobsters and many filet mignons sacrificed their lives to celebrate love. And then, of course, perfume by the gallon. And someone asked me, my sister asked me, what did you do for Valentine's Day? I said, well, my Cecil and I, we had asparagus, mashed potatoes, and a chicken. If you're in ministry for any period of time, you learn to eat a lot of chicken. And it's called preacher's fowl, or foul preacher, but anyway, that's me. So and they said, well, didn't you want to go out? Didn't you want to celebrate and so forth and so on? I said, and this is what I'm going to segue into. I said, you know, we have a lot of problems in the world, and of course, and we talked about it last time I was here, and so many other times throughout all the many denominations in the world. You know, I quote a famous Beatles song, all you need is love, okay? All you need is love. And yet we continue to pour the champagne, eat the high-priced candy, we send the cards, we go to the dinners, and at the end of the day, what we're celebrating more often than not is the emotional or the personal sense of love. You all remember it. I hope you remember it. How you felt when you realized that you had, quote, fallen in love. It's a biological process. It's an electromagnetic process. I mean, my God, they're studying it, and it's like, it's amazing all the different changes in biochemistry you go through, and you feel like you could walk on water, if not fly in the sky, and so forth and so on. But then you realize after a period of time, and this happens mostly in romantic love, but in probably other aspects, where it's not feeling so exciting anymore. And you're doing things because you gotta, whether it's washing the dishes, making sure the holy man's shirt is clean. I didn't say picking the nits out of my fur, did I? No, I didn't say that. And you realize that ultimately, and then I reflect back to on something I just wrote. It says, love is more of a verb than anything else. And so yesterday, we spent some time reflecting on, frankly, the day-to-day stuff we do, and how love is ultimately, if it's to be lasting, if it's to be durable, if it's to be effective in changing you to be a better person, then it must be love as a verb. We have to do something. And we have to do something that speaks to our sense of empathy, compassion. And there are many, many people that I've dealt with over many, many years who'll say, pig poop, don't want any part of that. Because their definition of love is, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? How am I going to feel? You can read an enormous amount of literature in contemporary writing, but also in writing that goes back literally hundreds, if not, a couple, maybe a few thousand years. And the point is always made that love, and of course I'm paraphrasing, love is a verb, that it is the activity of putting someone, or even groups, if you will, of someone's ahead of your own so-called needs and desires. And yeah, if you were raised in a dynamic where you were abused and you didn't get what you should have got, what you needed and so forth, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be a lot of trouble. And those are the folks, bless their souls, that need to perhaps seek some professional counseling, or perhaps counseling amongst themselves, like in self-help groups, to be able to identify that in the context of love, love itself, you, at the very core of your being, at the very center of your soul, at the very center of your mind, you are love as God is love. You are love, you are lovable, you are not only capable of giving the love that I've spoken of over the last few minutes, but you are infinitely able to accept and appreciate being loved. Do you know that very often when we are not happy in, quote, love, or the feelings of love, it has nothing to do with what someone has done or not done for you, or in a sense to you. It has to do with how you feel, how you mentally accept yourself. If you do not feel worthy of being loved, if you do not feel lovable, then what will come to you will somehow be askew. And in some case, even, I will use the word, but I will not go further with it because it's way too complicated. It will not just go askew, but it will have a sense of almost a perversion to it, mentally. So, what to do? What to do? Well, first, that's why it's called a spiritual discipline or a spiritual practice. If you meditate, which I encourage that you should do, if you meditate, it's an opportunity to go within yourself, to seek the so-called divine within you, or the supermind within you, and identify that that feeling of love that you seek, that feeling of love that you wish to give, is already there. It's been there from the moment you drew your first breath. You have to not only acknowledge it, but acknowledge it in such a way that you can actually feel it. That you are loved beyond your wildest imagination. That you are lovable beyond your wildest dreams. If you can begin to do that, it will not happen instantaneously, pardon me, but over a period of time, you will accept this not only as a thought, you will accept it as your reality. And that, my friends, is extremely, vitally important. And then the question arises, what to do with this feeling? What to do with this sense of being lovable and being and having the willingness to accept love, to feel safe in love and not be afraid of something that might be given and then taken away, or you get the idea there. And that's when you begin to love others. It always begins with family, as perhaps it should. It should begin with mom and dad, or, and then comes aspects of it that are very difficult. It's called something called forgiveness. Okay. I don't like using the word restitution, but recovery, a recovery of relationship, knowing that everyone involved deserves the same thing, but perhaps there have been times in everybody's life that the way they have approached it has not been either acceptable or reasonable. So we then begin to, quote, go outside of family, and we love others. And again, not just in mind. It's easy to look on a card or read a book or something about love and its joys and its upliftment and so forth. But the challenge of love is to put down the box of chocolate, to put down the bubbly adult beverage, to put down just the stimulation of the feeling and actually get up and do something about it. Does it have to be complicated? Hell no. But it has to have a beginning. And that's where many of us, even those of us who are, shall we say, embarking upon a joyful maturity, such as myself, I realize that, I'm of a certain age, and I still don't know some of these things. Not that I don't know them here. I haven't known them here, or known them as well as I'd like to. No condemnation, no judgment, no critique, a simple acknowledgement so that I can choose to move on. And a couple of the things I'll share with you here. I found this in an article I was reading a while back. That love should, under all circumstances, steady us. Because we don't feel steady, when we don't feel in a sense of integrity, that's when we're most vulnerable, and most vulnerable to the many things that we are heir to. So, it's the person who sends texts and said, "You've crossed my mind," and means it. It's the partner who notices that you are running low and takes something off your plate without being asked. It's the adult child who calls just to hear your voice. The neighbor who shovels your steps without making a speech about it. It's the teacher who sees a struggling child and chooses patience. It's the coworker who says, "I've got this," on the day you can't do it. It is the way someone stays when it would be easier to shift. Forgive me, not shift, drift. It would be easier to drift. So if you want to make somebody's, well, we say Valentine's Day, and of course it's like Christmas. I believe every day can be Valentine's Day. In the spirit of the day, here's how you can make love a verb and put it into motion. Write a small, specific thank you. Not "you're the best" or "thank you," but a specific note like "thank you for sitting with me when I was overwhelmed," or "thank you for making me laugh when I forgot how." Specific gratitude, hear this, Specific gratitude lands like a warm, comfortable blanket. Offer love in form that people can actually receive. Some people feel love through words, others through help, time, touch. If someone you care about is exhausted, flowers are nice, but a warm meal, a ride to an appointment, or a quiet hour together can mean more than any card can. Make peace with imperfect love. Love does not always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes it arrives with someone who tries, who learns, who apologizes, and who stays. Sometimes it arrives when you decide to treat yourself more gently, when you decide to treat yourself more gently. Sometimes it arrives in a hard season, not a solution, but as a companion. Let yourself receive it. If you are the caretaker, the fixer, the I'm fine person, you may be great at giving love, but extremely awkward at taking it in. Today, let you begin by practicing saying thank you instead of, oh, you didn't have to. Let kindness reach you. Let kindness reach all of us. And in spite of all of the problems in the world, we will still lead one day at a time, one gratitude at a time, one thank you at a time, one loving action at a time. And this too will aid and abet not only you as an individual, us as a community, but indeed will have, whether we want to believe it or not, an amazing impact upon the entire world. And so it is. And so let us make it so. Amen. I think I can. Hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love.
What wondrous
sinking down, when I was sinking down, when I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground, friends to me gathered round. Oh my soul, for friends to me round. Oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, to love and all friends I will sing, to love and to all friends who pain, sorrow, mend, with thanks unto end. I will sing, and with thanks unto the end, I will sing. Thank you. That was beautiful. And before we extinguish our chalice and get to our announcements, if you'll indulge me with closing words. Infinite, generous Spirit of life, we have gathered as brothers and sisters united in body, in mind, and ultimately in your infinite Spirit. As we have chosen to gather, we have chosen to open our hearts, our minds, to listen, to learn from one another. And we covenant with thee right here and right now that what we learn from what we study, whether it be Black History Month or whether it be a greater understanding of the activity of your infinite love, we know that if we do so again with open hearts and open minds, that good and only good can manifest itself not only in our lives, but in all the lives that we touch. We go forth out into the world now, uplifted, encouraged, feeling that love, and willing and able to express that love to those that are in need. This is our prayer until we meet again, and so it is, and so we let it be. May it be so. Amen. Announcements. I don't know. I know that at the end of our service today, we're going to be having, is this a potluck? No. Oh, that's next week. I always miss the potluck. Anyway, we're going to be having, of course, refreshments and fellowship downstairs in the fellowship hall. So please, please, please stay and join us. And next week, our speaker will be Susan Frowley, and the coffee hour will be the potluck. And your usher will be Wally Lamb. And those, I believe, are the announcements. I will be back with you the first Sunday of March. It's really been a pleasure and an honor to be back twice in 1 month. So I've had a very pleasant experience, and I hope you'll recover from it soon. So now we come to that portion of our service that we have our extinguishing of our chalice. And if you'll turn to the inside cover, and please repeat with me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Amen.
So I probably shared this story before. I grew up in Honky Land. There was me, I was the only Native person. No, wait a minute, there were 2 other Native people, 2 that were fostered out. And I had never seen a Black person, I didn't know anything about it. And so my mom was trying to teach me about this, and she got me this little dolly. It looked like one of those old-fashioned pickaninny dolls, the little braids and everything. And she was trying to describe to me and tell me about the whole situation with the Black folk, which I really had no clue. I just called my little doll my chocolate friend. Years later, of course, I've met a few people, and that's what I call them, my chocolate friends. That's my Valentine's story. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change your hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Each day is Valentine's Day.